What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to Force Strategy Gaming. Going to be commentating a game for you today between IM's NesTea and Roon Razor. So Roon versus NesTea here on Shakuras Plateau. This is a Protoss versus Zerg, and I am looking quite forward to this matchup. I will let you guys know, though, I am a little exhausted today. I just finished wrapping up my Diablo podcast, DiabloCast. You can actually go ahead and view that on our Diablo 3 channel, Force D3 Strategy, right here on YouTube. And that was about an hour and a half worth of recording. I don't know if the episode itself is going to be that long, but man, I tell you, I've been talking for a long time, but I'm excited to do this commentary for you today because this is going to be a good game. I got this from Gosu Gamer's StarCraft 2 replay website, and most of the replays that are available there are just absolutely phenomenal. These guys definitely publish some really solid games, so looking forward to it. And look at this right off the bat, NesTea with a super early spawning pool. And man, oh man, this is a fantastic start. That was a 6 pool. So we are seeing NesTea start off on Shakuras Plateau cross-positional map with a 6 pool. Absolutely, positively nuts. Let's see how effective he is. He's obviously planning on the fact that Roon may possibly be going for what he's going for. You can see it right now. Going to be planning to get this wall off over here to go for a fast expansion, but this is going to be incredibly susceptible to the 6 pool now. As soon as Roon moves in and actually spots us, he's going to need to drop down some buildings very quickly at the front of the wall because those Zerglings are making their way on through. We can see 6 coming out right now. Overlord making its way on through, and here we go. Roon is now fully aware. So let's see his response. He's not going to be getting that expo. He's starting off with that forge, but he needs to fill this bad boy up with some buildings right away as soon as he has the available resources. There we go. Gateway's coming down, and I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a pylon right here as well. He may actually just wait for the cannon, but I don't know if he can because here come the Zerglings and dropping down that worker, and there we go. Pylon's going to get dropped. Now, as soon as his forge gets up, he needs to get up some cannons. He's obviously going to be cutting worker production right now. He cannot afford to spend any more resources on workers. He needs to get some buildings up because the problem is that these Zerglings are coming in, and we're going to see him start to go to town. This is absolutely nuts, man. I've just been talking for an hour and a half, and I'm already casting an intense game. So he's going to start working away at this buildings right here. Now, I think the cannon's going to get in before he actually whittles away. You can see the cannon build time relatively short, so I think that should be able to get in before he actually manages to whittle his way through this gateway, and that's going to actually deter him from being able to push in. We can see starting to make its way on through, halfway the way done right now. He started to work his way through the actual shields, and actually he's going to be going straight for the gateway health, and he may be able to drop this. The pylon has been dropped right now. We can see all the workers, not all of them, but a lot of the workers here for Roon have been forced to push down right now. Cannon just coming on in, but not able to push any more forward. He almost got down that gateway. In fact, that was very, very close. We can see right now he does have a queen coming out. He started to actually work on his econ. He was just working with those first few Zerglings. But that was quite a bit of damage. Aside from the fact that, he managed to actually get down that pylon, the fact that he was forced to pull guys off the line, Roon had to pull some guys off the line just in case they got busted through. It also forced him to build these 2 cannons and this gateway much earlier than he probably would have. We can see right now he's coming down with that expansion, going to get that working on up, but at the exact same time, we can see NesTea has that expo going as well. So definitely a really nice attack there. NesTea would have liked to break in, but Roon did respond properly. We could see him cut those probes there that allowed him to have the resources and afford this frontal wall off, and that was just incredibly close. We can see again how damaged this gateway is and how incredibly close NesTea was to busting through that. Now going to start to move around with these Zerglings. We can see now obviously that change to Shakuras Plateau, unfortunately a little bit frustrating. I think otherwise he probably would have started trying to work on those back rocks. We can see 3 Zerglings right now pushing forward a little bit, going to be doing a little bit of scouting, wants to see if any sort of attacks are going to be coming. Can see spreading out those Zerglings. This is going to, of course, letting him know if Roon decides to push out with any sort of small attack. Now, obviously, Roon is aware, as far back as he was set by that, he is aware how incredibly set back NesTea is. You can see NesTea, after that 6 pool, focusing very heavily on econ, and that is, in fact, all he's been doing. No extractor, just been working on those minerals to try to catch himself back up to somewhat of a normal state. The hatchery just about to drop, and we're going to be seeing a transfer of workers right now. I'm guessing he's going to box close to half of these workers and send them on over. So there we go. Hatchery has been popped up right now, and let's see that transfer of workers. Is it going down? No, it isn't, because look at that. He is getting another expo, so he wasn't wasn't quite paying attention to that transfer, but instead getting a third. So NesTea really trying to compensate for his setback, and also the fact that he knows that Roon is on 2 bases. Starting with the 6 pool, he cannot just sit on these 2 bases himself and expect to be able to compete. So very smart on NesTea's part there, going for that third expo very quickly. Of course, that's going to make him a little bit vulnerable if Roon decides to push out anytime in the next few minutes. If he can get some more gateways down, get that warp gate research finished, and then push out with maybe like a 4 or 5 gate push, he definitely could do quite a bit of damage, and we'll see what NesTea decides to go for unit composition in order to deal with this. Let's see, got a bunch of conversations here going on from my buddy Slifen. Unfortunately for him, though, I'm going to have to cancel that. I don't know what my problem is. I almost always forget to put up that busy signal. That happens from time to time, though, and I don't mind answering user questions, just not in the middle of a cast. So take a look over here for Razor. We can see Warp Gate Research making its way on through, taking a look at his expo. No assimilators there as of yet, and he hasn't really worked on that transition yet. Here we go, finally seeing some gateways coming down. We can see 3 gateways getting placed down right now. Is he going to be getting a 4th? Yes, so right now he is sitting on 5 gateways. And I wonder if he's going to actually be going for a 6 as well. Looks like he is. So look at that. Roon sitting on 6 gateways right now. So going to be going for an early gateway push. And that's, well, not early, but given the way this game opened up, he's going to be transitioning into that 6 gate push. That, of course, can be very effective. I did mention that on how NesTea may be vulnerable to that. So we will see how it plays out. Now with that 3rd finally popping, we are going to see that transfer of workers go down. We do see another queen over there as well. That is, of course, quite necessary. There is a Roach Warren. So going to be using a Roach heavy build. Obviously, very wise on NesTea's part. Roach is very effective against that gateway heavy army, so that could work quite in his favor, especially given the fact that Roon is going for that 6 gate and that level 1 upgrade. This used to be something that I saw quite a bit. You do see it every now and again here as well. You see that Forge fast expand into that 6 gate level 1 upgrade. Obviously the timing on this was set back a little bit by that early 6 pool aggression from NesTea, but we'll see if NesTea has anything to deal with it. Taking a look at the army tab, obviously not sitting on too much right now. We can see big advantage going to Roon once he did just get in that warp in. Looks like he is going to be trying to push out right now. It looks like unfortunately the Stalkers can't make their way through, so going to be forced to kill off that cannon in there before they move forward. But look at this right now, that push is coming. We can see 10 roaches making their way through. NesTea is definitely going to need to come out with a few more than that to deal with this push, because we're going to be getting quite a few more warp ins here. Going to be seeing a probe move down here as well to drop a proxy pylon, and this of course is so very dangerous. Now let's take a look here for Roon if he does know about that 3rd. He does not know about the 3rd yet. I wouldn't be terribly surprised if he checked for it though. Here we go, roaches converging in the middle, getting ready to deal with this push. Proxy pylon going to be placed right here. Needs to be careful for those roaches though, that wants to try to not lose this. Unfortunately did lose the probe, but look at this, there are not enough roaches to deal with these forces right now. These roaches are in a lot of danger. Great force fields going down there from Razor. Some nice guardian shields there as well, cutting back on the damage. All of those roaches going to be dropped right now, and not enough streaming in some additional roaches right now, but dealing with these force fields is very frustrating. The pylon did make its way on up, so we're going to be seeing some additional warp-ins, and Roon is in a tremendously good position right now. Very stalker heavy, and that's actually going to work pretty well against these unupgraded roaches. Without that that speed upgrade, they're not quite as effective. Of course, there is no layer up right now for NesTea, and so that's a little bit dangerous. Roon continuing to push these constant warp-ins coming in. Really just focusing on this right now. He's also coming down with additional gateways, so going to be getting that 7th gateway, trying to push down. Zergling's moving forward as well as those roaches and the queen to try to get us around and do as much damage here as possible. Seeing a decent amount of micro here from Roon, trying to keep those damaged stalkers in the back. That is, of course, exactly what you want to do. We are seeing continuous reinforcements with 22 Zerglings making their way on in. That is a lot. Without Blink, these stalkers are going to have a hard time against those Zerglings, especially if they can move in, wrap around, and get a full surround. And look at all these spine crawlers doing what they can. Drones trying to push down as well, waiting for those reinforcements in a little bit of a dangerous situation. These stalkers, as well as the Zerglings, trying to deal with the roaches over here, and some additional warp-ins just sticking with stalker heavy, and it's actually working out quite well. You see some nice micro there, and he knows that there's a base up here because he saw those reinforcements, and unfortunately NesTea doesn't look like he has enough to deal with this. We're seeing those Zerglings finally come into play, streaming around and trying to get a full surround though on those stalkers, and actually these stalkers in a little bit of danger. Roach is going to be trying to drop this pylon. That is of course a primary target. He wants to cut back on those warp-ins, but look at this, at the same time NesTea in danger of losing this expo. A few roaches coming into play. Drones moving down to try to get surrounded, but I think it's a little bit too late. Roaches are being dropped right now. You can see those additional damage though from those drones definitely helping quite a bit there in this attack, and looks like NesTea with some additional reinforcements was able to hold off that stalker pressure from Roon. Roon is continuing to stream up some units, though. We can see some more Zealots and Stalkers making their way on through here, and even with this continued aggression, some great response there by NesTea, pulling down those drones, and with those reinforcements, Roaches was able to deal with it. We can see some really heavy Stalker composition, really heavy Zergling composition coming out for NesTea, because he knows if he can get a surround on those Stalkers, he's going to do a pretty good job, but we are seeing a ton of Zealots going through now. Of course, those Roaches going to do pretty well if they can micro away, but these Roaches not microing away, NesTea losing quite a few Roaches here because he is not microing away from those Zealots and taking kind of unnecessary losses. Zealots have been dropped, Zerglings streaming forward to try to mop that up, but here is the problem. I saw that Twilight Council. There it is. We're going to see that Blink research, and once Blink comes into play, this Roach Stalker composition isn't going to be quite as effective. Those Blink Stalkers able to micro back can be very, very strong against both Roaches and Zerglings, so we will see how that works out. We can see finally that Blink research making its way in, a few Zealots being thrown into the mix as well to try to help deal with those Zerglings. Really great, really action-packed engagement there. We did see pretty heavy losses from NesTea, and the fact that he lost quite a few workers. Let's take a look at the income tab. We can see 36 harvesters for NesTea as opposed to the 48 of Roon. So Roon definitely in a strong position economically there. Taking a look at that income tab there as well, you can see very, very superior there on the gas, and a little bit more of an advantage for Roon as well on the mineral gathering. So Roon's definitely in a very strong position right now. That attack definitely crippled the econ there of NesTea. NesTea is going to be forced to re-drone up and try to get some sort of a decent saturation. We just have these Overlords scouting the corners of the bases here. Now again, once this Stalker Blink comes into play, the Stalker heavy army is going to be much, much more effective. I would like to see Roon try to move down an additional probe. There's lots of hiding spots that you can get that pylon placed, and that's going to again help with those reinforcements. So we can see right now, going to be actually trying to drop a pylon right there. There's the probe that's going to be doing that work, and the Blink has finished. So here we go, going to be seeing some Blink micro blinking away from that surround. So very effective. The Stalkers up here, unfortunately, without Blink, did get a little bit of surround there from those Zerglings, but again, you can see putting those damaged Stalkers behind, but still lots and lots of Roaches here from NesTea, and that is actually way more than Roon can handle right now. He is going to need some more reinforcements, and look at that, tons of Stalkers coming in. Let's take a look at that gateway count. We do have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 gateways right here, and an 8th right there. That is a lot of warp gates right now for Roon, and Roon's going to be able to consistently get those 8 warp-ins of Stalkers. That, of course, is going to force him to put down a lot of pylons in order to keep up that warp-in count. But he is going to do what he can, still stick on the 2 bases, and here comes the push right now. Again, using that Blink Stalker micro to try to prevent any surrounds and to pull any Stalkers from the back. So incredibly effective there. NesTea sitting on quite a few Roaches, though. Let's take a look at that army supply. NesTea at 90 army food as opposed to the 50 here of Mr. Roon. So Roon's going to need a few more warp-ins before he can actually deal with this. Now, he's got a big advantage in terms of mobility with those Blink Stalkers. Going to allow him to quite more easily handle the defense here of this 3rd base. And look at this, Overlord moving down from NesTea. NesTea is going to spot that 3rd, and once he does, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a push, but again, here comes a attack from Roon. Roon starting to even up those numbers there, 64 as opposed to 92. Even when he's behind, that Blink makes it a little bit less of an issue, picking off that 1 spine crawler, then pull back, but a full surround going down there from NesTea. Great job. That Blink micro is still helping quite a bit, but that was an excellent play there from NesTea, moving in with those Zerglings from the backside and getting surround on those Stalkers, forcing them to blink away, and then making them susceptible to this Roach fire. Now, those Roaches, unfortunately, are quite a bit too slow off that creep. Let's see if that speed upgrade did make its way through. No, finally starting to get that. He definitely needs that, especially when off the creep. Those Roaches are way too slow to catch up to the Stalkers, especially with the Blink. We can see NesTea has spotted the 3rd, so let's see if he does anything about that. But here comes the engagement right now, pulling back those Blink Stalkers, trying to get away and out of the range though of those Roaches. It's just been a back and forth battle for a long portion of this game, for at least the past 5 or 10 minutes right now, just back and forth of the Roaches trying to engage those Blink Stalkers, but again, without that speed upgrade, they're not really able to do so. We do see the level 1 melee upgrade coming out right now for NesTea. He also, of course, is getting that Roach speed, and that should be out sometime in the near future, and that will make those Roaches much more easily equipped to deal with the army here of Roon. Roon does have this 3rd up. Let's hopefully see him pull down some workers. There we go. Tons of workers from the main, which is all but mined out right now. Going to make its way on down. Level 2 upgrade, I think, right now, just about to finish. Yeah, there we go. Level 2 upgrade, just about to finish for Roon, making those Stalkers quite a bit more effective, and hopefully he can do some damage. Besides that initial push, really hasn't been able to push too far into the army of NesTea here. And here we go. Here comes a big engagement. Lots of Roaches moving forward, and again, Roon just testing the waters, moving forward, picking some things off. off and then pulling back. And this is kind of the thing that he wants to do. He wants to, remember, these guys do recharge relatively quickly with those shields, so if he can pick off a couple buildings, pick off a few Zerglings and Roaches, and then pull back, that's going to put him in a good position, as long as he tries to make sure to not lose any Stalkers during any of those engagements. Now, again, with that blink, he definitely has a lot of opportunities. We can see the level 3 upgrade coming right now. Something I would really like to see here from Roon, though, is a robotics. If he could come out with a robotics and get on an observer, it's going to let him abuse that blink quite a bit more, getting him up on the high ground and maybe trying to hit this third base here from the backside. We can see NesTea has yet to actually get a third, but look at that. Zergling's moving forward to try to get us around on this army. Going to try to pin those Stalkers between the Roaches, though. A few Zerglings engaging the Stalkers on the backside over here, and the blink micro is a little bit too much. Roach is trying to move forward and engage, but again, that blink is just so hard for them to deal with, and it looks like not a winning battle. NesTea is gonna be pushing back Roon right now. Roon losing a lot of the shields here, but again, with that blink micro, he's able to keep some of these alive much longer than he would otherwise. Roach is trying to get up in close as possible, and look at the amount of damage going down, but again, the blink pulling him out of range and forcing those Roaches to pull forward, and it's just unbelievable how effective Blink Stalkers are against a Roach heavy build. Just so very strong. We saw the Zerglings get dropped, and with just the Roaches, that blink is just a little too much for them to deal with. A few more Stalkers getting warped in over here right next to this pylon. Very safe position for Roon to fight because he's got reinforcements so very close. So again, with some great micro, though, Roon was able to push back that entire attack. NesTea is in a little bit of a hurting position right now. He's only at 51 as opposed to the 42 of Roon. Now, he's still ahead, obviously, but again, that blink definitely does make quite a big difference. We did finally get that speed upgrade for those Roaches. Luckily, we do have a ton more Zerglings making their way on through, and again, NesTea just going to be sticking to this Zergling Roach build. He's not making any sort of transition, and there we go, Dark Shrine coming on through right now, so Roon going to be switching things up a little bit and trying to take NesTea by surprise, and that could be very effective, especially if he can get some DT in the mineral line here of NesTea. NesTea trying to move forward and again trying to get that surround, but after that blink, now something that NesTea really has to do is once a blink is used, like it was there to move the entire army of Roon, he needs to try to pull up on the backside, and there we go, Zergling's trying to move out back and do as much damage as they can. Roach is trying to engage at the same time. Lots of damage going down on those Blink Stalkers, but still moving to the back. Again, you can see like a Stalker right here with 10 HP making it all the way to the back, and that is precisely the point of Blink Stalkers, and if you're paying enough attention and you can micro properly, it is unbelievable the amount of devastation and damage that Blink Stalkers can wreak on this army here, and still NesTea trying to deal with this but having a very hard time, and finally Roon finding his window of opportunity, gonna be pushing on into the base here of NesTea and gonna try to start to work on the econ, and just unbelievable use of Blink Stalkers. Man, I wish I had access to this video for when I did the Like a Boss episode, because this is a phenomenal example of how to properly use Blink Stalkers. I am really impressed by Roon this game, doing a great job. We can see NesTea forced to pull down with those workers just to try to deal with this, and that is a bad situation. If you get to that point, then you definitely know you're behind. DT just coming to play for DT, probably going to be moving here into the third of NesTea, and NesTea's going to be in a lot of trouble because he is in danger of losing this natural, and if he loses that third as well, he's going to be in a whole lot of trouble. Continuous phenomenal use of Blink Stalkers, and Roon just absolutely displaying the devastating power of those Blink Stalkers, and with this constant aggression, he has made it so that NesTea has not been able to expand, and look at this DT making their way on in. We do not have an Overseer right now, and he could do tremendous amounts of damage. Are we going to get an Overseer warped in at the same time? Blink Stalkers moving on down to the expansion, and there is the GG from NesTea. He knew DT were in his mineral line over here, and even if he warped in an Overseer, he would have still had to deal with all these Blink Stalkers. He did not have quite enough forces, only a few reinforcements coming in, but it wasn't enough to deal with this. So great game here by Roon, just again an excellent example of how to use Blink Stalkers, and because of the constant aggression, and that is primarily due to the mobility and the survivability of Roon's Blink Stalkers, NesTea wasn't able to actually get that fourth up, and because of that, he was constantly streaming in units just to try to deal with this aggression. He wasn't able to get any sort of advantage, and sitting on 3 bases against Roon, who himself was on 3 bases, is not a position you want to be as a Zerg player. So great game between these two players. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Earlier in the day, we did have another Like a Boss episode uploaded by Cricket, and Cricket, just so you guys know, is now officially a member of 4Strategy Gaming, so you're definitely going to be seeing quite a few more cast and strategy videos from him here on the channel, and definitely a really solid player and definitely knows his stuff, so really happy to have him on board. And again, hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode. If you did, make sure you subscribe to the channel, and as always guys, keep watching and keep owning.